of the things I talked to our guys about before the game was, we got a lot of new bodies, and it's not just the freshmen, it's the sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Everybody has a new role, and you never know how people are going to accept the role, whether it's Aaron Harris all of a sudden having to be the man, or whether it's Kenny Goins having to go from a sub to a starter. And I was just disappointed in the first half because I didn't think any of the things we worked on in practice. And I knew we would be a little nervous. I thought we'd shoot the ball poorly. We shot the ball very well, but we didn't do the effort-related things. We got to defend. We got to rebound. It's older than sin, and it doesn't change any years that I'm here or anywhere else. Teams that are any good. And we just gave up some layups, some wide-open threes, and yet a couple guys responded. Cassius, we jumped on him a little bit about it. He's got to be a better defender. That second half, he did a much better job. McQuaid, it's hard to tell. He was in foul trouble the whole time. But when you don't get much out of your three guys, in McQuaid, Ellis, and Harris, then it's hard to do anything. Now, at the same time, our best defender was out with a little hamstring pull, and that's Josh Langford, who's played very well. So, again, plus he's one of our better rebounders as a guard rebounder. So I thought Northwood, to be honest with you, played awfully well. They made some credible shots early when we were down 6-0. I know everybody in the room thought about Middle Tennessee, because I did. And I was going to call a timeout if they scored one more. I wasn't going to let it get to 15 this year. Learned my lesson. But I thought they did a nice job of moving the ball, running. Jeff did a great job, very well-coached team, and I give them a lot of credit. So, not sure how disappointed I should be in anything except the effort-related stuff. And that I should be extremely disappointing, because it doesn't matter what grade you're in, it doesn't matter what you're doing. That should be a constant. So I'll say I'm disappointed in that, but I was impressed with the fact that you got a guy like Winston who, gets 9 assists in a game. That's pretty good for a freshman. Plus he made some shots. I thought he played pretty well. I thought Bridges played decent, but he did it all within the framework of what he was doing. He looked very smooth and very comfortable. We posted him some. We put him at the 3 some. We let him handle the ball some. So I think he fit into what we said we were going to do with him, and he handled that very, very well. Still, the most exciting play of the night for him wasn't a couple of those monster dunks. It was the pass to Kyle for the dunk, and that's kind of what I love about the kid. He's got to get better defensively too. Took some days off or time off out there, but did a lot of good things. So I'll open it up for some questions.
Tom, I'd like to ask you about Miles. You briefly touched on it, but I think that was the startling thing tonight, whether it was passes or good passes from his teammates to him for scores. He seemed to celebrate their successes. You've said that great players make others around them better. He's just first game, but do you see that in him?
Well, I really do. And you know what? As you said, he was happy when other people had success. And I guess when you're 12 for 14, you should be happy no matter what happens. But at the same time, I thought he handled everything, stayed in the flow, didn't force a lot of stuff. And it's fun to be able to take a kid like that and move him all around. I mean, each time out, we put him in the middle. We put him on the post. We put him on a perimeter. We really moved him around a lot. And to his credit, it wasn't as smooth all the time, a little harder guarding people. But to his credit, he just let the game come to him and made some big-time plays. But his shots, I didn't think he forced one shot, and that's pretty good.
Tom, one guy you didn't talk about was Nick. Played a lot of minutes early on. And I guess talk about his performance a little bit. And is that minute-wise kind of what you're thinking right now with the big man? And have you heard anything on him?
Well, it's hard to say, with Nick, because he might have to play more minutes than that. I mean, the guy that didn't play as well as I think he's been playing is Kenny. And depending how well Kenny plays, but if they're going to go 20 and 20, Nick might have to go a few more minutes. It depends. I thought he did a decent job staying out of foul trouble. The things I thought he would do was get to the free throw line. He did, and he's been shooting pretty well. And I think he went 1 for 5 there. Otherwise, he was shooting real well in that stretch. You know, he can rebound the ball. He's big. He didn't look out of shape. He's lost a lot of weight. He's got a little bit of work to do defensively. A lot of work to do defensively, but that's what most freshmen have to do anyway. So he's making some progress. We need Kenny to play better than he did. Maybe between the two of them, it might be around the same. Gavin, we're still waiting to find out the length of time he'll be out. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry.
Coach, right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Historically, point guard's such a big position for you, and you mentioned at times before this game coming in that you would have Cassius and Tom on the floor at the same time. What did you think of those opportunities? Where does it go from here? Obviously, Winston did very well with the 9 assists.
Well, the team was a little smaller than ones we're going to face in a week and a half, so you can get away with certain things tonight. I didn't think it was bad. I don't like the fact that, you know, I don't think Tom can take 9 shots. You know, he was 3 for 9, and he's shooting it better, but Aaron's got to get some of those. McQuaid's got to get some of those, and even Cassius got to get some of those. We got to define the roles a little bit better here. It was just one of those things where, you know, I think Tom feels like if they're going to sag off, and we got to do a better job. We didn't want to run a lot of stuff today. We didn't run a lot of things, and there's some packages we have that we're going to exploit people that do that to Tom. We're going to use him a little more as a screener and things like that. So some of that, I guess I got to take the blame for.
Tom?
Yes?
There's a moment where the big blonde kid, 44, that was a 3 over Nick Ward and
Yeah.
got into Nick a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm wondering with how thin you are there, I mean, you might not be able to use the bench as a way to sit him down.
Oh, I'll still use it. I don't care about winning or losing.
Okay, yeah.
That's not a problem. You know what? This is about the program. This is about the culture. This is about what's going to make us better. I mean, if I have to sit Nick and lose a game, I'll sit Nick and lose a game. And I mean that about as honestly and bluntly as I can say it. And Nick's going to know that. I mean, the reason I was upset is that kid had hit other threes, and I'd just gone over the coverage. And I wasn't upset that he didn't guard him on a 3. I mean, he was, you know, when you're 15 feet off your guy, it's a little bit disturbing for a coach, but that's not what made me upset. It was the coverage. He was supposed to be up on this thing, and I just went over it in a timeout, and that's one of the things Nick's got to do, stay focused longer. So, no, nobody's got me over the barrel. I got at least 1 more year Hollis will give me, so I ain't worried about nothing on that. No, there's none of that'll happen.
Tom, offensively, Bridges and Ward took about half your shots, and they were well over half your scoring. If someone were to tell you that coming into this game, pregame, would that have startled you, or is that something that you kind of...
Yeah, it would have startled me a little bit. I did say, though, that Ward is I don't know if anybody here agrees. I don't know how many were here with him, but he is a poor man Zach Randolph, you know, in every way, including how he guards. And I told Zach that on the phone the other night. So, you know, he's got to get better in that area, but he can score in the post. And you didn't even see the jump hooks, and he can do a lot of things. I've been impressed with Nick. I mean, Nick came in here and lost 26 pounds now, or whatever he's lost. He's done a heck of a job in a lot of ways. But as I told him in the locker room just now, if we're going to use you against good teams and we're going to play you minutes, I can't, you know, we're not like half the schools in the country that get to play 6 games against, you know, not as good at teams. I mean, we're going to be under fire in 1 more game, and then it gets a little crazy here for about 7 out of 8 games. So that's what I got to make my team understand. I'm not worried about winning or losing all of them and what happens, but that should motivate them to really care about all aspects of the game. And we had a freshman moment, you know, we really did. And when I say a freshman, some of the juniors and a senior had a freshman moment. I got out there, and, you know, I told Miles about the Gary Harris in Germany. We walked through, we script our plays. The first 3 plays scripted, everything should have been great. Gary went over and sat with one of the military people. He was so out of it in that beginning of that game. And Miles did that the first 2 plays, you know, and that's normal, guys. That's going to happen. But, you know, the effort, what we played with, and I think it really hurt us not to have Langford in there because he is bigger, stronger, more athletic, and by far the best defensive guard we've got right now.
Coach Al right here. Kind of looking at the lineup at the beginning of the second half, you played all 3 of your available freshmen. Was that kind of by design, and what did you kind of see from
Yeah, I went in with a game plan and what I wanted to do. I wanted to play the 2 small guards together some. That was part of the game plan. I wanted to have certain lineups in there a couple different times. So, yeah, it was all part of what it's the advantage of exhibition games. You can do that. I thought we did okay. I mean, you know, the way I'm talking, I'm not giving Northwoods enough credit. Hey, they made a couple of shots with guys right in their face, you know, and that's going to happen. We had a couple rebounds slipped to our hand, and they scored. They were very opportunistic. I thought that's what makes them well coached, you know, but those kids, that was Christmas, 4th of July, and give them credit, you know, they played with some passion. I didn't think we played with as much passion, but we'll improve that, I promise you. Yes?
A little bit along those lines, what have you from these 2 exhibition games against teams that really aren't playing your level, as opposed to playing like the scrimmages?
Yeah, you know, I talked about that. I got to look at what's best for a couple of people, what's best for Michigan State, number 1, what's best for players as far as young guys getting out in front of crowds, number 2. And I also look at a little bit, being a Division II guy myself, that the help we can give Division II schools, you know, get them a little money, get them to do something. I mean, I gave my right arm playing an exhibition game here. So a little bit of all, but does it help us quite as much? I don't think in competition, but, you know, I think our guys learned tonight, too, that they can't get caught up in the lights and the crowd, and so you wouldn't get that if it was a scrimmage. So, you know, maybe the perfect world, 1 of each, and maybe I'll lean towards that. But, you know, we'll get a lot out of this film, I promise you that. And that team, I thought, played pretty good. Yeah, I told him that he's, you know, we just talked about you know, how sad it was because he'd be getting minutes, and I thought he could really help us here. And I also told him, you know, you're in college now, and it was gray area whether he could play or not. And you know, the hardest thing in a coach is how hard to push somebody. When is it a hurt or is it an injury? If you're hurt, you got to play. If you're injured, you never should play. And, you know, again, we don't have the luxury that some teams have that we're going to start out the season with 5 pretty definitive wins or things like that, you know, where you can take some bumps and grow from it. That's not what our schedule's like. So I think it's important Josh gets some time out there because I think he's really a good player that's going to help us. And I think he needs to get some. I see no reason why he wouldn't play next week. He was right on the teetering on the bubble here today. But probably with, you know, the fact that we've got injuries, it's probably good we didn't play him. But if he doesn't play next game, now his first game is against Arizona, second game is against Kentucky. That's not very healthy either. You know, it's not a lot of just him getting the ball and going, believe it or not. I mean, he did a lot of things within the confines of what we wanted to do. You saw some timeouts we came up and posted him up. Other timeouts we put him in the high post. I mean, we moved him around, and I thought he handled that part pretty well. Now, he has a little more freedom than some guys that on the break he can go with it, and because he makes pretty good decisions. But, you know, he's still got some work to do, and so, you know, I think, and I told him this on the bench, you know, don't get enamored by, you know, what's happening. I'm proud of you because I thought he played hard. I thought he played unselfish. I thought he made shots, and they were shots that were ready shoot shots, you know. I mean, he he moved, put himself in position. So I was really, to be honest with you, I was proud of the way Miles played. I did not think I've had other freshmen that have played good, but in my mind a little more selfish. I thought, he only took 14 shots. I mean, that's more than he'll probably get in a lot of games, but maybe not. But he didn't take 20 shots to get his, 30 points. He took 14 shots. So he's a great player, but even a better kid right now. And I think he'll be coachable enough to work on his defense and work on his rebounding. And if he does those two things, he's got a pretty good feel for the game. I mean, he's not Denzel yet, but you can see some of the passes and plays he made. He's really could end up one of the more versatile players we've ever had because he's strong enough to post up. He's athletic enough to play on the perimeter and handles the ball well enough. Fun kid to coach. Totally. That, I think, is the most disappointing part as a coach. When you got to go in the first game, you can't coach effort. Now, was it because we were a little raw? Was it because, we were messing with lineups? I mean, all those things, probably. But we were not going after the ball. We had guards already taken off. We don't get to do that this year. A little different. And they know that. They've had 3 weeks now of practice. And so we're going to have to improve that area. And, with all the injuries we had, we're playing sissy ball again. We're back there. We got little dummies that we bump to get a rebound, and that ended yesterday. So tomorrow we get back to Michigan State basketball, and should be a fun day of practice. Hey, I appreciate it. Listen, it was, give Northwood credit, but, we did a lot of good things. You don't shoot, I don't care. There's two things that I look at. If you can shoot 56%, 50 from the three, and we really made a lot of free throws until Nick missed those 4. We would have shot over 85% from the line. That's phenomenal. When you don't turn the ball over too much in the first outing, that's phenomenal. When you have the assists, doesn't matter who you're playing, that's phenomenal. On the total negative side of that, when you're not giving effort and you're getting out rebound 19, I thought it was 21-9 at one time, but you're keeping track of it. I'm arguing with the officials, so there's a difference there. But I think that's effort, and when you have effort-related things, that's the things that are non-tolerable. All the other things will work out. So we'll get them both done, and hopefully we'll make some progress. Thanks a lot.